Gentlemen, if everybody can find a seat, we'll start the council meeting. Welcome to the City of Homestead, 790 Homestead Boulevard, Homestead, Florida. This is the City Council meeting, Wednesday, August 22nd, here at 6:15 in the evening. Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Brock Schiffer from the Speedway Community Church. Pledge allegiance by the Police Explorers and Councilman Shelley. Would you all please rise?
Hey, we bow our heads. I'm working for my proclamation. Heavenly Father, you are our Heavenly Father. Father, there's not one problem in this room this evening that you're not aware of. There's not one problem that your grace and your mercy and your love would not address. May we, as proud participants in this community, strive to leave this community truly better than we found it. We can't do that, Lord, in and of ourselves, but we can do it when we make you first and foremost. So I ask that you watch over the deliberations this evening. I ask that those in authority would truly seek your counsel and your wisdom in all the developments and situations and decisions they need to make. For your way is perfect, and ours is not. And so, Father, may you watch over this community, and may we truly, truly leave it better than we found it. In your Son's precious name, amen. Amen.
March. On the guard. Hold. Left, face. Breathe, left, arms.
Just join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Right, face. Forward, march.
Please be seated. Thank you, Pastor Schiffer. Thank you, Police Explorers. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Faircloth McCormick.
Here.
Councilman Maldonado.
Here.
Councilman Shelley.
Here.
Councilwoman Warman, absent. Councilman Williams.
Here.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Here.
Mayor Bateman.
Here. Thank you, Madam Clerk. First item on the agenda tonight is public comment. When you come up to the podium, that's 2 minutes, and public comment, state your name and address for the record. Public comment is open.
Tommy Milner, 122 Northeast 17th Street. Mr. Mayor, Council, Mr. Manager. I work hard to provide a home for my family in a safe and secure neighborhood, a neighborhood I thought I found in 1997. I purchased a property, designed, and personally built my house. The house was to be an investment for my future. This house is in a neighborhood in the city I planned to retire in, a neighborhood with a low crime rate, a neighborhood where the homeowners take pride in their home, as well as the upkeep of their homes. And here's where the problem begins. The city of Homestead purchased a property at 105 Northeast 17th Street, directly across the street from my house. The city refurbished that house. The city then turned the property over to a corporation called Galata, a social service agency who specializes in minority and low-income homes. Galata, in turn, rented this house out, Section 8, to a family who cannot financially sustain to keep their property up. They went 5 weeks without cutting the grass. They have bed sheets for curtains. Okay. With the property values already so low, we can afford for this house to deface the value of our property any farther. Okay. And my first question if the city was going to get involved in this type of real estate, why did we not get some type of public notice? Why were we not informed of your intention? Okay, second, was it the intent of the city for this house to be rented out, Section 8? My next question is there any member of the council, the mayor, or the city manager who bothered to step foot in my neighborhood and take a look at this house and see if this is a neighborhood that qualified for a house to be rented Section 8?
Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead and
And,
wrap it up. Time's up, but go ahead and just wrap it up if you can.
okay, well, to make it short, I think the city needs to be held accountable for this, and in a short term, okay, the lot is not going to cut the grass, the homeowner can't afford a lawnmower, okay? I think the city should right away provide somebody over to start taking care of this property on a regular basis. But this needs to be discussed further because this is not acceptable in our neighborhood. And you'll find I have some other neighbors here that have similar concerns as myself.
All right. 1 second. This was the program that was run through finance before you, Mr. Perez. I don't know where we're at. Is this our home through the manager? Is this still ours?
Mayor and Council, this is one of the properties that was deeded over to Galata. So we're currently owned by Galata. We have a contract with them. They should be responsible though for the maintenance of the property. So we will monitor what's going on and we will follow up on this. Those are the 5 properties. Again, I apologize. Again, those are the 5 properties that were deeded over to Galata. We have an agreement with them. They should be responsible for the property and the upkeep on it. And it is our responsibility to monitor that, and we will follow up on that and make sure that they are keeping it maintained.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does that satisfy you that they'll follow up on it, Mr. Mayor?
It does as far as the grass, but I want to know what's going to happen long-term with this house. It's not acceptable to have a Section 8 house across the street in my neighborhood.
Councilman Fairclough?
No, Shirley.
Sorry. Thank you, Mayor. I was aware of this issue. It was brought to my attention about a week or so ago. I did go into your neighborhood. I did look at it, the property in question. I did discuss this with the city manager and asked them to look into it because I do agree with you that that particular area is not an area where you want a perpetual rental. And so I think it was a situation where at the time it wasn't caught that the particular neighborhood that was going into, because that is a single-family home area a rental does not make sense there. And so I have asked staff to look into the situation to see what can be done about it as far as keeping this from being a perpetual rental hereafter, as well as the issues that you have currently, which is the maintenance of the yard, things of that nature, which is addressed in the contract that they have to maintain. So it is something that is being looked at, and I ask that it continue to be looked at, and we find a resolution.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
This is a question to staff. I guess I don't remember the our commitment or our lease agreement with them or whatever the deed restrictions are. But how often do we follow up and monitor these houses that we deeded over to them to make sure that Galata is following the guidelines by which we have set?
That's something we have to do. We're currently addressing that. But again, these properties were just deeded over Galata, I believe, just recently, within the last 5 or 6 months.
How many houses are there?
5. 5 houses altogether.
Okay. All right. And in that contract, I guess, would you provide me a copy of what we have done? Because I think that's from the NSP money, right? That we were trying to, before it went back to the federal government, we were trying to spend it to make sure that we done what we could with that.
That is correct. We purchased 15 houses with the NSP monies, and 5 of those were deeded to Galata. All of the other ones have been sold with the exception of 2, which we just had a recent lottery for, and there's 2 interested homeowners for those. So that's the status of all the 15 properties.
Another quick follow-up question for you. If we find that that these properties that Galata has, they're not doing what they should be doing with them, do we receive the properties back and look for another company or social service organization that will do what is needed so that we wouldn't have this problem?
We would have to look at the contract and discuss that with legal to determine that.
Okay, thank you.
Through the mayor,
Yes, please.
the intent of the neighborhood stabilization program is to stabilize communities and remove blight. But it appears to me that they're bringing blight to the community, doing something opposite of what the program is designed to do. My question to you is, did Galata pay anything for those houses?
Councilwoman, I don't have that answer for you right now, but I can certainly find out for you.
Okay. If they receive those houses for free, I don't understand why they're profiting from them and renting them out. I thought they were supposed to be giving to homeowners to live in there and not profit from them by renting them out through Section 8. So if you can provide us with some follow-up information on that, I greatly appreciate it. And your concerns, sir, have been noted, and at some point we will follow up with you to determine the next steps.
Okay, what I would really like is a commitment to someone to meet with me at a later time, because in 2 minutes I can't voice all the concerns I have.
Yes.
And different knowledge that I have on this situation. It really needs to be discussed, and I don't want it to just be swept under the rug. I would really like to meet with somebody. I'd like a commitment from somebody.
Mr. Manager, will you agree to meet with him tomorrow? Is tomorrow all right for you?
That's fine, sir.
Okay.
And Mr. Mayor, also, as a representative of your neighborhood and your district, my door is always open. Feel free to give me a call, so I'll be happy to meet with you as well.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Dennis, and I live at 2721 Southeast 12th Place. I'm the secretary for the Committee for a Better Homestead, also known as CBH. CBH is a nonpartisan, nonprofit group of concerned citizens and voters coming together to discuss issues, ideas, government spending, and matters which affect the community at large. It is our intention to work with council and the mayor to help bring about positive change for the city of Homestead. We currently have close to 100 members, and we meet on the third Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. at the main branch of First National Bank by Chrome Avenue at the Pioneer Room. Our next meeting will be on September 17th. We'd also like to inform council that our members took a vote at our July 19th meeting on whether or not to charge an out-of-city fee of $10 to play on Homestead sports fields. It was a unanimous yes. So we just wanted to inform you about that. Now I would like to introduce our Vice President, Ms. Vielka Dwyer.
Good evening, Vielka Dwyer, 1920 Southeast 17th Avenue, Homestead, Florida. I'm a member of the Community for a Better Homestead, and I do have a question and concern. It is my understanding that the public hearing for the budget will be on September 4th. As of today, the budget has not been posted online. We have formed a committee to look at the budget under the Committee for a Better Homestead, to look at the budget so that we can be educated and be concerned about the budget and bring our concerns on the 4th. But we can't do this if you don't post the budget on the line. And I understand that the mayor and council has the budget already, but it's not public to the public yet. And so that's my concern and my question. When will it be available to the public?
Okay. I just received it myself, so I can tell you that you're not looking at the ones who posted on the website. So, Mr. Manager, when will it be posted?
We can post, we can put on the website what we provided to you the other day. So what we provided to you, typically what we do is we provide it to you, we meet with you, and we post it, but we're happy to post it as of tonight if you'd like.
Okay, the entire budget will be posted?
What we have now, obviously there's language, there's narrative in the budget, and so what we have right now are the proposed numbers. You'll have exactly what the council has.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is James Melly. I live at 112 Northeast 17th Street, and I'm here to continue a discussion that was brought up by my neighbor Tom Milner regarding the property at 105 Northeast 17th Street. I want to echo his concerns and bring up a few concerns of my own because I am deeply concerned about the arrangement that the city has with Galata. it would appear that funds were spent from the NSF to acquire this property. The property was completely renovated, which it did not need. I knew the homeowner for years. I've been in my house for 20 years. And then the house sat for almost 2 years, never had a for sale sign, never had a real estate, never openly marketed for sale. And then at some point it was transferred to Galata for $0 on the tax roll. And they're tax exempt. So now this is revenue lost to the city. And as you mentioned, council member, they're renting it. So are they generating a profit? This is a 501c3 organization. This is a tax-exempt organization. And on the surface, this does not appear proper. And as council member also mentioned, this is not the neighborhood where you want perpetual renters, transient renters. This is a fund that was developed to promote equity, investment, and long-term investment. And this is not the way to do it. From start to finish, this didn't proceed in a righteous fashion. It doesn't make financial sense, and it doesn't seem like it's going to promote what, in fact, it was intended to do. And I would like follow-up on this. I would like to review the contract because I want to know who's responsible for this property. As Mr. Milner mentioned, the property's not being maintained. The resident states, I don't have the capability to maintain it, yet Galata has to be pressured. This is the first time that anybody's done any lawn maintenance to actually engage in lawn maintenance. Is this going to be the norm? Yeah. Is this gentleman going to move out, somebody else going to, and its cycle going to continue and be perpetuated? This is unacceptable.
We hear you loud and clear, and you're welcome to join that meeting. Maybe make that meeting convenient so that it fits both of you, and let's hear the concerns. We are responsible, because I can tell you it took place in 2009, 2010. With the exception of Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick, we are responsible. We're the ones that work that whole entire program. Never did I know that they were, at this point, shame on me, that 5 of them were given to one organization for $0.
And never marketed.
Those were supposed to be commitments to families, first-time home buyers, and people who were going to be homeowners.
Absolutely.
There was one in Villages of Homestead that it took us forever to finally find a homeowner to purchase it. We finally got it sold, and I knew the neighbors next door to them, and they complained about it being empty. Now I believe everything seems to be going very well there now. But I'm interested. I'm just as interested as you are. So we're going to get to the bottom of it, I promise you.
I appreciate that, and I'll be looking forward to the follow-up.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Barbara Bruce, and I reside in the Cutler Bay area. And I'm here with the SWAT, Students Working Against Tobacco. I'm here with some of my students.
Welcome. Students.
Hello, my name is Keith Asai, and I'm a member of the SWAT, Student Working Against Tobacco, and I'm here today speaking on the issue. Candy-flavored tobacco targets youth. Tobacco use is the single most preventable cause of disease, disability, and death in the United States. Flavored tobacco products have been increasingly common in the U.S. These products containing flavors like vanilla, orange, chocolate, cherry, and coffee are especially attractive to youth. They are widely considered to be starter products, establishing tobacco habits that can lead to a lifetime of addiction. Candy and fruit mask the bad taste of tobacco, make it easier for kids to start using tobacco products. Once they start using one tobacco product, they are more likely to experiment with others.
Hi, my name is Skylar Cressler, and I'm going to be telling you why it's not good to smoke candy-flavored tobacco. What is the problem with candy-flavored tobacco? Candy-flavored tobacco targets new users, the majority of which are kids. Studies show that 17-year-old smokers are 3 times as likely to use flavored cigarettes as smokers over the age of 25. Almost 90% of adult smokers began smoking as teenagers. What is not banned by the FDA? Candy-flavored spit tobacco, candy-flavored cigars, snus, small packets of tobacco resembling tea bags that are kept in the mouth. The excess juice can be swallowed instead of spat. New dissolvable products, pellets, camel orbs, a twisted stick the size of a toothpick, camel sticks, and a film script for the tongue. Camel scripts are all which are made from finely ground flavored tobacco.
Our goal for this policy: candy-flavored cigarettes are banned in the United States. Deadly tobacco products are still sold packed with candy and fruit flavors that attract you, including berry-flavored spit tobacco and grape-flavored cigars. We want to prevent our youth from to use these cancer-causing products by getting them off the shelves. This policy is not aimed at the few adult users of these products who can easily switch to other tobacco products, but are protecting our youth. So in fact, 20% of smokers ages 17 to 19 smoke flavored cigarettes, while only 6% of smokers over age 25 reported smoking flavored cigarettes. 80% of smokers started before the age of 18. This ban will help stop the more than 3,600 young people who start smoking daily. New York City has banned the sale of all flavored tobacco products and successfully won legal challenges to the law. Both Wisconsin and Illinois are in the process of attempting to ban the sale of any candy or alcohol-flavored tobacco product. And our county resolutions has been passed in 11 cities and one ordinance in the city of South Miami. Thank you, and we hope Homestead will also support SWAT.
Mayor? Great job. Yes, Mr. Williams?
Yes. Mayor, I don't, young man, you will come back to the podium. Let me commend you all for such informative information and such presentation, and I'm excited to know that you all are doing this. And I don't know what we have done or if there's any ordinance on our books, but I will be in favor of supporting such cause in which you have recognized today. So I want to say thank you for the great visual presentation and your oral communication. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I would just second what Mr. Williams said, and if he would be so kind as to make perhaps, or if we could instruct to take a look at it for us. I mean, I would be in support of something like that, and it sounds like Mr. Williams would be. And if the attorney could look through that for us, I would appreciate it.
Thank you. To piggyback off this, we talked about the bath salts. You were looking into the bath salts.
Bath salts, that whole area, Miami-Dade County has passed a countywide ordinance which covers all of this, so we're preempted from getting involved in the bath salt issue. This is a different issue, and we could address this, and we'll have something ready for your next meeting.
Can we piggyback off the county's enforcement with the bath salts?
Yes,
Okay.
we have the ability to.
So our police department's aware of it, and
I don't know if I'm sure that they are. They're very up to speed on stuff, but there is a county ordinance, and
well, maybe you can provide that for us as a copy and to the
no
police
problem.
department.
Glad to do
I think it's important before we end up with somebody sick or dead.
Thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Calvin E. Phillips. I live at 131 Northeast 17th Homestead. And picking up on what Mr. Miller and my other neighbor quoted on the property at 105 Northeast 17th Street, I've lived here since 1985. And I chose this neighborhood because of its characteristics and its possibilities of my retirement here. That's in question now. I've seen the property go from up, and now it's going down. My question to you is, how can this happen, and what has been done to maintain our standard of living in this area? Has the city rezoned this area for rental properties? I thought it was private home owned only. And what's happened to the tax base? Is it going to affect this tax base in this area? If it's a rental, and obviously it appears to be this, the tax base is going to decrease on that aspect, and mine will just do the opposite and increase. This is unacceptable. I would like some answers, please.
Yes, sir. Well, you're welcome to join that the other two neighbors. The manager, you want to maybe get through to one of your assistants now, where they can actually start sitting down with someone and kind of communicate on a time that they want to meet. Would be very helpful. So before you leave tonight, we're going to get a time that's convenient for the three of you, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
That would be fine. Thank you.
Sir.
Good evening, Mayor Bateman, Councilman Burgess, Vice Mayor Burgess, Councilman and Councilwoman. Before I start speaking, I would like, if it's possible, for the parents and the children who represent LA Sports and Youth Center, if they can stand behind me.
Sure.
Thank you. You guys can stand whatever you want.
Convey that to George. Convey that to them.
Okay. As much of you are aware with the issues that we've been battling with LA Youth Center and the City of Homestead, on August 13th, we had received an email from LA informing us, the parents, that as of August 20th, the LA Sports Center and Youth Center was not going to be available with their after-school program for these children and for us parents. We have sent letters, emails to all of you in plea to please have this after-school program open for us. I myself, since school started, I work for a law firm, and it's really hard sometimes to have to pick my child up from school. And I've had to been not taking my lunch break and going at 3:30 in the afternoon to Keys Gate Charter to pick her up, and I get back to the office at 4:30. I have to bring my daughter to school because I can't afford the after-school program that Keys Gate offers me, as well as Gateway and other after-school programs. A, because they do not do homework with the children. It's only 2 hours, and you have to pay on a monthly basis from $240 to $300 and some odd dollars a month. And every month varies for the amount of days in the year the month has. All of these children, not only are they after school, and each one of the counselors there have taken us as a family, and we're all a family in LA. I mean, besides the homework, the reading, all of our children have achieved so much from them and have learned so much from them as what it is to give back to the community, not only in the family but into the community, and to be better in the future for what they're going to be when they grow up. Besides the sports program, I mean, a lot of these kids never ever played any type of sports, never ever even thought about going on a stage and dance. And they've provided to our children a lot of the stuff that right now they are here to plea on you to please keep it open. I know that there's some, I have to stop. I know that there's issues that Mr. John Fries has made aware of us, because when we received that email, we all went to the complex to see what was going on. I know that they had received a notice that they were a daycare. They don't have cribs there. As to my understanding, the state of Florida Children and Family hasn't changed the law where an after-school program needs a special license to have an after-school program. I know there's issues with the structural insurance that Mr. Ruiz was kind enough to explain to us, that I think it can be waived for a period of time. He's not asking not to pay for it. He was kind enough to show me and 3 other parents that he was paid up until August of this year. He's not paying September because there's no after school. I know you guys are going through legal issues with the city, but I plead to you on behalf of all of us who are here, and many more parents who couldn't come because they're working and it's hard for them to come here, to please set aside the differences on any other legal issue you have and think about these kids and what he can do to the community and what he can give the city in profit revenue, and for a place that was closed for so many years. And I mean, he put his love, his effort into building up a place for the city, for the community, that he is giving back to you guys what you guys were paying for so many years. And 4 more years, we as taxpayers are willing to waive that so we can have the after school for our children and for many other children to come.
And because we're in litigation, it's really hard for us to comment on this, but generically, you're referring to the lease agreement.
Yes, that was another thing, correct. That was another thing that he made aware to us. I mean, there's so many amendments that can be done to have the after-school program for the parents and for so many parents. I mean, it's for the community. You all, when you were wanting to sit in that chair, vouched to make the community better. And I think it's like a time to reflect on what can be done and put in a balance what exactly this means to all of us and to this little tiny town, that he can give so much, and it's something that will be profit to many years to come. Not only if you waive it for the 4 years he's been asking. I mean, it's not that he's not going to pay for it. He's just asking you to put a stop to it and let him build up what he wants to make there. That I think it's something that will benefit all of us in the long run.
Okay. Let me, so we can maybe cut the long to the short.
Yeah,
I know what you're going to say to me, but listen, what's wrong with having one of the council members again sit down and try to talk through this with
the problem is that we are, Mr. Lele has filed 2 lawsuits against the city, one for fraud and one in class action dealing with it. Those are serious, we're taking them very seriously because they're serious allegations. And if you want us to direct us to have settlement discussions with Mr. Ruiz dealing with this issue, we're certainly happy to take that direction from you, so that the council person could be involved in those discussions. But I would not feel comfortable just a council person sitting down with Mr. Ruiz, who is an attorney, without us there. And again, I'm not trying to insert myself into it, but I am. I do take these lawsuits seriously when someone sues the city. And
no, I hear you. We want the protection. I agree. But I think I think second or third best effort is the way to go, and I would like that. How does council feel?
So I'll give you another option, which is, first of all, on behalf of the other council members, because I've had several calls today about this. All of them, are hear you and understand your concerns. And just because they're not saying anything, it doesn't mean that they don't hear you and feel badly about the whole situation. Because I've had calls from 3 or 4 of you today about this. So because I've asked them, because we are in litigation, not to speak on this issue. I don't want you to think that their silence on the issue means that they don't care, because it's not true. They do care very deeply about this. What I was going to suggest is that I've requested an executive session on this litigation, and that we could move that up, have an executive session, so that you can give us some direction as to how you want to move forward with this, and then we could move forward and have a meeting with whoever, to see if there's a way to try to resolve this, if you think that makes some sense.
And what that means is we go into a closed-door session, sit down with counsel and our legal department and management, and we attempt to come to some type of an agreement that works for both sides.
Okay.
Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Yeah, I met with you all,
Yes.
some of the parents on, I think, Friday.
Last Friday, yes.
And I told you, what my feelings were on that. And so
That is correct.
my commitment is still there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
I understand you guys are having the legal issues and you have to resolve some of the matters between Mr. Reeves and yourself. But also, is there any possible way that while you try to get to some type of arrangement and settlement with Mr. Reeves, is there any way that they can continue to have the after-school program in the meantime? Because, like I say, as a single mom and parent, there's many other ones that have the same issues that we don't have a place to put our kids.
As far as I know, and I'll ask the manager, but as far as I know, the city is not preventing Mr. Ruiz from having after-school programs.
I agree.
The city has not interfered with those after-school programs in any way. Mr. Ruiz, I believe, from what I've, and certainly he can speak for himself, and I don't want to get into a bigger conversation here because I am concerned.
I understand.
Is that it's based sort of upon the economics of the situation, that whatever is the reason these programs are being stopped. But I don't want there to be any misapprehension here that it is the city that is closing down these programs. It is not the city. It is a Lele is a private company that operates the stadium on behalf of the city, and they've made the determination for whatever reasons.
Well, they received a letter from the city, the statute where it said that they needed a special daycare license, and that's why I said they're not a daycare. And that's one of the reasons why the after-school was closed until this matter can be resolved, because there is a letter that, I mean...
I would just tell you that there's a lot of issues. Again, this whole situation has been made much more complicated because Mr. Ruiz chose to sue the city. The city didn't sue Mr. Ruiz. The city didn't instigate any legal action against Mr. Ruiz. Mr. Ruiz chose to sue the city on 2 separate lawsuits, and has made and I know because I spoke. It's made the whole situation a lot more complicated. And there's people on the council that would like to work, but it's made things a lot more complicated. I mean, you work in a lawyer's office, so you know, it's made it a lot more difficult to deal with when we were in court spending city money to defend the lawsuit that Mr. Ruiz has filed. And I know that it's very frustrating for the council, and I know that they're dying to talk about this, but I really don't think you should. And I think what the mayor suggested is that, I think we should have an executive session. You can give us instructions. And beyond that, if there's licensing issues with Mr. Ruiz, I mean, the city doesn't license. There's a license. If George, maybe you want to say they got a letter from the city. Yeah, I read the letter.
Regarding commercial daycare statutes. And that's one of the reasons why the after-school program was shut down. I mean, if what you're saying is that he can operate as an after-school because there's no licenses needed.
I don't believe we licensed this. And this was an analysis of the lease and where the areas of breach were in the contract. So that's why you got that inventory of issues. And we weren't, in fact, the council went out of their way to say to us that that item, even though it's not in compliance with the regulations, that we wouldn't take affirmative action on that. So that's the reason why the program wasn't shut down.
Okay, now, to make it short, because I know you guys have to continue with your city meeting, I know that you guys have to talk between closed doors with some of the legal matters and legalities that you have. I mean, is there any way that you guys can do an amendment to the lease where he can have the after-school program? And I mean, even changing the name to what would suit the purpose of what they're doing with the kids. It's not only doing homework. They do all type of sports activities with the children. They do so many things with the children that I'll hate to see, not because of only me. I mean, we're talking about 63 other kids that go to the after-school since September of last year that are missing out on so much. And I have a daughter who cries almost every night, and when we were walking in here, she started crying because she was worried that they were going to say no.
Well, again, I think that one issue that they're asking for, we can go to executive session, but I think that you need to look into that one issue. Is it an after-school permissible, or is it not, after-school program?
I would just say this publicly. To my knowledge, the city is not shutting down. The city does not license after-school programs. Mr. Ruiz, if he's operating, whatever he's operating, is responsible to have, through the state of Florida, to have the proper licenses. If he has them, that's fine. If he doesn't have them, he needs to get them.
I understand that.
I think it's very important in terms of the way this is being positioned, is that this is not the city closing down your program. This is a private operator who's deciding to close down the program for whatever reasons. And
Well, he's closing down the program because there's a breach of contract, because in the lease that you guys have with him doesn't say that there's an after-school program. So that's what I'm asking or begging on behalf of all of us who are standing here, if it's possible to amend at least that part for him to continue to have the after-school program, because he's willing to open it up tomorrow. If you guys are willing to at least amend that part, I don't think that would need more legal matters to discuss.
To answer your question, yes, it is possible. When we go into this special session, we could bring just that item up. Yes, we could.
Okay.
We could. If 4 people agree on that, yes, ma'am. To answer your question straight up, it could be.
Okay.
Anything can happen with 4 votes.
Okay.
Simple as that.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just surface level, I recognize it's very difficult to provide after-school programs that are quality for your children. And I just would like to thank you for being an advocate, not for just your child, but for someone else's child.
No.
So I just like
Anything for Lele, I will bend over backwards and stick my hands in fire for them, as a parent and as a mother.
Thank you so much for coming out and expressing your concerns. Thank all of you.
I'm
And
sorry.
you know what, let's get a date.
Mayor Bateman, I'm sorry, my daughter wants to say something.
Yes, go ahead.
Mommy was the only thing that was fun for me.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So much. Can we get some type of date?
Okay, Andrea.
I think it's up to the first or second week. Do you have a date for the executive session? Okay. Okay. Let's try to work on something for next week. Everybody's gone, I know, this week. So
Just
next
to
week.
avoid, it was like, from our office, I need to be there, Mr. Sirota, and Mr. Hockman, the three of us, and we'll make ourselves available because this is very important.
Good evening, Mr. Rhodes, former mayor of Homestead here, Fred Rhodes.
I'm Fred Rhodes.
Hold on, Fred. Hold on, Fred.
What about that?
A little thing fell off.
I'm Fred Rhodes. I was born and raised in Homestead. I'm 86 and a half years old. I want to congratulate the mayor, the lady on the council, and all of the council members on hiring a great man for city manager. When I ran for office in 1962, and the only reason I ran, we had a former sheriff of Dade County was the city manager. And my dad was the head of the motor pool. And he found out, he told me about it, that about 4 or 5 of the council members had had brand new tires put on their car. And he didn't see any money for it. He told me about it, so I talked to the city manager about it, and he fired my daddy the next day. And I ran for council the next time they had an election, and I got elected.
God bless you.
And I served 16 years on this council. And I loved every minute of it, and I love all you people, because I congratulate you. You hired a great man for city manager. We hired a first professional city manager the year I was elected, in 1962. We advertised nationwide. We had 28 applicants. I looked through them, my wife looked through them, other people looked through them. We picked Ole Pearson. He lived in Ypsilanti, Michigan. He was a professional city manager. He came here. He did one hell of a job for us. I got too big for my pants, trying to do too much, and he kind of resented that. He quit the job and went to Ocean Reef to run the Ocean Reef facility. After about a month down there, he didn't like all those millionaires telling him what to do. He'd rather some redneck to tell him what to do. He came back and asked for his job, and I got him a job back. But I want to congratulate you people. You got a good man, and let's not let anything happen to him. Because there's people looking all the time. They're sending resumes out. You did a hell of a job. I congratulate you for doing it, and I hope you keep up the good work. Thank you very much.
Mr. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
I'm Alexis Talbot, and I'm the proud pastor of First United Methodist here in Homestead. And I just want to remind you all, each time I'm able to come to council meeting, to be able to remind you of our Homestead food pantry. And there are 2 opportunities for you at the food pantry. First of all, if you are hungry, we want you to be out there on Saturday morning. Sometimes it's a long wait, but it's worth it, from 9 a.m. until noon. And we will be able to give you some groceries. And sometimes it's a lot of groceries, and sometimes it's few groceries. So that's the second opportunity I want to offer to you all. Those of you who aren't in as much want, if you would donate your time if you would donate groceries, or if you can even make deals with people that you know of who are business people to be able to donate fresh fruit, vegetables, meats, all of these things. We have facilities to be able to take all of those things in, and we would love to have you be involved in that. You can call the First United Methodist Church office, and we will get you directed where you need to be. But we just thank you and this community for the support. Last Saturday alone, we fed almost 400 people, or gave them groceries to be able to eat at least 3 days this week. That was a low number. Our highest so far this year has been 488 people who are willing to come and stand in line to receive enough groceries for 2, 3, 4 days. So we'd love the City of Homestead to help us out some more, those who are citizens, those of you who are hungry. So far, we have never run out of food, and it is amazing. Sometimes there's not much left on the shelves at noontime, but we want you to be a part of that. Thank you all so much.
Thank you so much. Any further public comment?
What is that ringing?
Alexis Fernandez from La Ley Sports. I'm here on behalf
Address, just an address.
1601 Southeast 28th Avenue. I'm here on behalf of the parents and our students because I feel that I would be failing them if I weren't up here. Because I myself was the dance teacher, let's say, for some of our programs. I understand that there's a legal issue, and I'll make it very brief. But we did receive this letter, and it did say that the operation of a daycare center and dance classes are two uses which are not permitted by the lease and which require city licenses. We're not a daycare. And we only have dance classes for the kids that actually participate in our actual programs. We don't have a dance studio that's just focused on that. So if we could do the executive meeting, you guys session, you meet, it'll take, I don't know how long, but as you see, these students, they need a program. They need to go somewhere. And we offered that place. And we were doing it for your community. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you, and we're going to take that into consideration. Thank you so much. Any further public comment? Hearing none, we'll close the public comment and move on to additions, deletions, and deferrals. Mr. Manager, Mr. Attorney? Okay.
None, sir.
Okay, consent agenda.
Move it.
Second. Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any nays? Item carries. All right, the next items are public hearings or ordinances, land use items, quasi-judicial public hearing.
Mr. Chair. Yes, please be advised the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Code Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications they've had concerning any of the following items on this evening's agenda. Hearing none at this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any of the following quasi-judicial items.
Please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I state your name, hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Just on tab 14 and 15 going back, I did have conversations with the applicant prior to the last meeting regarding that issue, so I just wanted to disclose that.
Thank you.
Tab 12 is the final order of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting a certificate of use to allow the operation of a restaurant with on-premises sale and consumption of beer and wine located at 45 North Homestead Boulevard, further granting a waiver of location requirements for the on-premises sale and consumption of beer and wine as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Entertain a motion.
I move it.
Second. Thank you. Staff report.
Yes, sir. It's recommended that the mayor and council approve the certificate of use and waiver of location requirements, which would allow Bangkok Cuisine to sell beer and wine for on-premises consumption only. The property is zoned retail, restricted retail or B1, and has a future land use map designation of LCU, both of these designations are compatible and permit restaurants. Section 3-6 of the code has location restrictions or distance restrictions for the sale of alcoholic beverages that requires that no restaurants sell alcoholic beverages within 400 feet of a church or government property or a public park or school. Currently, the restaurant is about 286 feet from J.D. Red Park and 351 feet from Homestead Christian Academy. Therefore, it's requested the applicant is requesting a waiver of the location requirements for this property.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council?
Just one, Mayor.
Yes.
This building across the street from
Chinese restaurant.
Chinese restaurant, where it's called Kaching, right next to the Pizza Hut. Is that a location?
I believe it is, yes. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Just to get an area.
Just a comment, Mayor.
Yes.
I have no problem with this since they will be internally doing this, and I would suspect most of their hours are going to be when church and the playground aren't being used, that I have no problem in supporting this tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Any further questions from council? At this time, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public, please come forward. Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions from council? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Yes, tab 13 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of Williams Agricultural Enterprises for a rezoning of an approximately 1.27 acre parcel from General Use District G to Restricted Retail Commercial District B1 for property located south of Castile Heights subdivision, west of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, east of Kingman Road, and north of Campbell Drive, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Motion?
Move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Second, thank you. All right, staff report.
It's recommended that the mayor and council approve the proposed ordinance requesting the rezoning from general use district to restricted retail or B1. Again, as we stated earlier, the applicant is requesting to rezone an unimproved parcel from G to B1. It's west of the Turnpike on Kingman, north of Campbell. The parcel is currently vacant and is part of the Florida DOT right-of-way. The applicant has indicated that they are currently in negotiations with FDOT to purchase the parcel in order to unite this with a parcel a little over 2 acres directly to the east for the development of a proposed hotel. The parcel has a future land use designation of light commercial use, which permits hotels and offices and retail and other businesses, which generally require frontage locations on major roadways. Again, we recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council? No questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any final questions from council? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 14.
Yes, moving on to tab 14 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, concerning the request of Susan and William Perkins for a rezoning of an approximately 14,204 square foot parcel from Liberal Business District B3 to Light Industrial District I1 for a property located at 138 Northwest 9th Avenue as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Motion.
Move it.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
We recommend the approval of the proposed ordinance requesting the rezoning. The applicant intends to lease the subject parcel upon the approval for a recycling and transfer facility, which will require a special exception. In order to allow industrial development on the subject parcel, both the land use and the zoning must be amended. The light industrial zoning district allows more than 20 types of industrial uses and permits recycling and transfer facilities as special exceptions.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Mr.
Just
Dell.
more of a comment. I know we discussed this thoroughly at the last council meeting. My position hasn't changed. I don't believe that the light industrial, I think there's too many intensive uses for that particular area, given that you have residential on one side that abuts it, and so I don't think there's a sufficient buffer. I have no problem with the recycling use, but I do have a problem with the other uses that are set forth within the industrial. So therefore, because all those uses could be applied to any future landowner or any future use, I can't support the application in its current form. So I just wanted to make sure for the record that why I'm not voting for it is there.
Any further questions from council? Hearing
Question,
none.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Through the mayor.
Yes, sir.
Do you know if I was looking at the map the other day, and on 312th Street and Redland Road, which has residents on one side and it's still vacant land, is that the same designation that this property is looking to get right now?
I would have to look at a map. I don't know right offhand.
It's the same one.
It's the same property.
Yeah, so I just
Well,
want...
they're asking to go to industrial, and industrial, they want to put a recycling facility on the land. The current zoning does not allow the recycling facility, but the industrial does as a special exception. I think the issue is that the industrial also allows 20 different types of uses in excess of the recycling facility.
If I may help, I believe that the Redland Road and 312, where he's talking Campbell, that big corner section says 20 acres industrial. So it's a big sign out there, so I assume that that's industrial.
Well, if it says it's industrial.
And what his point is, I believe right across the street is a whole row of houses too, right on Redland Road. So that is industrial because there are building warehouses there and industrial operations are going on there. Big stuff is housed in there. I know what you're talking about. Any further questions from council? Okay, open the public hearing. Any questions from the public? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
My name is Winston Ellington. I live at 305 Northwest 9th Avenue. This is the first time I heard about this here. What kind of chemicals would they be using to recycle and everything? Because we haven't heard, at least I haven't, heard anything about it.
I don't think it's a chemical, but I'm not going to speak. It's a metal storage. You want to go to the rest of the applicant here that's going to be doing the operation? It's aluminum, metal recycling where they bring in pieces of it and they weigh it, sell it, and send it to the...
Hi, I'm OJ. Basically what it is a center where people can come in and bring their metals, preferably non-ferrous, but it could be ferrous. All we're going to do is grab them, unload them from the trucks, weigh it, pay the gentleman that brings the material in, and then we're going to take it indoors, process it, and put it in a bin. Once those bins get full to a certain level, we're going to ship them up north for sale. And basically, that's about it, and everything is going to be done indoors. There's no chemicals, there's nothing of that kind. That's all we're going to be doing in there.
Did that answer your question, sir? Mr. Winston?
This is the first I'm hearing about it. I apologize, I wasn't here.
That's all right.
Been busy. But I don't think any of our neighbors know about it, because I live right down the street from where he's talking about it. And that's what my concern now is what's going on. The big, I don't have no problem with speaking a second language, but all of my neighbors speak speak Spanish.
Right, speak Spanish.
And it'd be kind of hard to sometimes to get them to understand what's going on. For we could, if they don't want it there, they would just like have an opportunity to come and say, we don't want it. Because his children in that area where I'm at, if you remember, about a year ago, a dog, the dog from across the street from where they were living at, attacked the little boy up under the car. So my concern now that I would keep a watchful and give them some more information for I'll be prepared next time to challenge. But I would talk with some of my neighbors a little bit to find out, because it is a concern with what goes on into your community.
Sure.
After they bring stuff in.
Sure.
You know.
Well, you and I know each other pretty well, and I can tell you it's I don't know about his form of operation, but that form of operation's a pretty clean operation. He is keeping it inside. That's what we've requested. It is going to be an inside type of operation, so I don't think you'll see a lot. But what it will do is it will create jobs.
Okay. But I can still complain.
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
Hey, listen, you and I are friends, and you can complain all you want. You were just in my office last week. I still love you.
Am I okay, or?
You're fine. You can sit. Yeah. Any further questions from the applicant? Any further questions from the public? I'll close the public hearing now. Any final questions from council? Madam Clerk.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
No.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, tab 15.
Yes, tab 15 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving a special exception requested by Otto Jose San Romain to permit recycling and transfer facility on an approximately 14,204 square foot parcel located at 138 Northwest 8th Avenue as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
Okay, motion, moving on.
Move it.
Second, thank you. Staff report?
Yes, sir. This is the special exception portion of the item we just heard. We recommend approval of this item. Just to reiterate, the proposed facility will recycle only metals and conduct all the operations within the building on-site to mitigate any of the negative aesthetic and noise impacts associated with the operations. It'll be open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Will not operate on Sunday. It will have 2 employees, production manager and operations manager. From a technical point of view, the recycled metals will be offloaded and brought inside of the building where they'll be weighed, sorted, separated into bins of like materials, and then the bins will be kept inside till they're sold to a processor who will then enter the facility, pick them up, and take them off-site.
Okay, questions from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Just for clarification, I wasn't here at the last meeting. The bins there's no outside storage of the bins in the evening?
There's no outside storage of the
periods. Okay, so when they close the doors at night, everything's inside. Okay, thank you.
Any further questions from council? I'll open the public hearing now. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 16.
Tab 16 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request of Prince of Homestead Inn, LLC, for a rezoning of an approximately 1.2-acre parcel from Restricted Retail Commercial District, B1, to Hotel Motel Institutional District, R4, for property located at 1020 North Homestead Boulevard, is legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
I'll move it. Thank you. Second.
Second.
Staff report.
Staff recommends that the mayor and council approve the proposed ordinance requesting a rezoning from the B1 to hotel motel, which is R4. This item was deferred from the July 25th meeting. The applicant is again requesting to rezone this parcel. It's located at 1020 North Homestead Boulevard. It's currently zone B1. with the future comprehensive plan use map designation of light commercial use. The applicant intends to use the property as an assisted living facility upon the approval of the requested zoning. So in order to allow an assisted living facility on the subject parcel, the current zoning must first be amended along with the approval of a special exception that would be coming at a subsequent time. The property is currently located on the site of the Inn of Homestead.
Okay. Thank you. Questions from council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Shelley.
I'm Mr. Shelley, I'm sorry.
No problem. I guess it's more of a comment again. I don't necessarily have any questions. I've thoroughly discussed this item with staff. Again, I know that the purpose of this rezoning is essentially to allow for the subsequent ALF application. And I don't personally believe that an ALF, that is the best location for an assisted living facility on our main frontage of US 1, based on the traffic concerns, based on the intersection there as far as the busyness of it goes. So I personally don't support the rezoning. The other reason being is that my understanding is that this zoning designation or this zoning category will restrict the uses that could go there in the future as well. And so the current zoning allows for multiple commercial type products, whereas once we rezone it to the R4 hotel motel, it's going to severely limit what could go there, and therefore again I don't support the purpose of the rezoning, so I don't support the rezoning going forward. I just don't think it's the best for that area for the city of Homestead.
Is the Mayor?
Yes, sir, Mr.
Is the applicant here?
Good evening. I'm Jose Alfonso. I live at 709 Southeast 13th Circle, Homestead.
Quick, Mayor, can I-
Yes,
question?
please, Mr. Williams.
How many persons are you going to remodel the place? What are you going to do with it?
We have 50 rooms right now. Our intent is to have anywhere from 90 to 100 beds. Some are going to be double occupancy, some are going to be single occupancy.
I'm sorry, you said how many rooms do you have?
There's 50 rooms right now.
50?
Yes.
50, okay.
Yes.
And how many persons you trying to?
Our intent is to be anywhere from 90 to 100 residents.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Any further questions from council? Mr. Vice Mayor?
No, Jimmy took care of it for me, thank you.
Okay. Okay, hearing no further questions to council, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
No.
Councilman Shelley?
No.
Councilman Williams?
No.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
No.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
No.
The motion fails.
Okay, thank you, sir. Tab 17?
Yes, tab 17 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request by the City of Homestead for a rezoning of an approximately 25,669 square foot parcel from Restricted Retail Commercial District B1 to Professional Business Restricted District B1A for property located at 104 Northwest 12th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Motion to move it on? Move it, I mean?
Move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Staff?
Staff recommends the mayor and council approve the ordinance requesting the rezoning from B1 to B1A. The city is requesting to rezone this parcel located at 104 North 12th Street to Professional Business Restricted District. It's got an existing daycare that's associated with the planned extension of a charter school with ancillary recreation and parking. It's currently B1 and has a future land use map designation of professional mixed use. The reason this request has come about is that in the portion of our analysis, we found that in the rezoning of the property in 2010, the parcel was rezoned administratively and not by an act of council as required by the code. In addition, the daycare was approved without the zoning and the land use being compatible. So to straighten all that stuff out, we need to go through this process.
I hear you. Okay, questions from council? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams? Yes. Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 18.
Yes, tab 18 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, considering the request by the City of Homestead for a rezoning of 4 separate parcels from Parking District P to Professional Business Restricted District B1A for properties located at 119, 127, 135, and 143 Northwest 11th Street as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Move it.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff report.
We recommend the approval of this requested ordinance change. The 4 parcels are currently vacant and associated with the planned expansion of a charter school with ancillary recreation and parking on the existing Les Jardins daycare campus. The 4 parcels currently contain parking district zoning designation and have a future land use map designation of professional mixed use, which would allow the future charter school. The PMU designation is implemented by B1A zoning district. The proposed rezoning is necessary to provide consistency with the land use and the zoning.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council?
Just a question.
Yes, Mr. Burgess.
Through the mayor to staff and through the manager. How did these things get put over there if the zoning wasn't done correctly to begin with? I guess going back.
The process that was undertaken at the time was that there was a unity of title on the land, and one of the parcels was they simply adopted the zoning district of the majority of the parcels instead of coming through a public hearing process like this as the code requires. So it needed to be amended by the council and not administratively as it were done. And it's simply a process issue. The land use and the zoning didn't match, which would preclude that use from being there today. So this is something that needs to be straightened out. More of a process issue than a technical planning issue. The use is appropriate for the location. Just there was a shortcut, it looked like, in the process.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Shelley. Councilman.
Just a quick question. What was the reason for the parking designation? I mean, because it's parking, that was what's supposed to be public parking at one time? I mean, what was the purpose of that?
I don't know what the existing issue is, but this aspect of what we're doing here is merely a cleanup item. We would have to get the parking to the zoning that implements the comprehensive plan here, and that's what we're doing. So.
But no, I was just curious what the reasoning was. I mean, I support this, but I was curious what was originally planned to go there to have that many parcels donated, designated parking.
If I might,
Sure, yes.
it's associated with the old hospital use.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's no longer needed, so that's why I was just curious. And then when they come forward, as far as parking for the facility, that'll all be part of a site plan and making sure they have an accurate number of spaces.
Correct.
Not a problem, thank you.
Any final questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Any questions from the public, please come forward. Is the applicant here? Someone?
We are the applicant.
Oh, we are. I thought it was Lehard.
This is something that we're cleaning up because it was something that the city had.
But isn't it Lehard Dane as the operator?
They are going to essentially submit a site plan application for a charter school. We needed to make these amendments to the code on our behalf because it was.
I thought it pertained to the new site they just finished.
It does.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, Mayor, the dilemma for us and staff here was that they wanted to do a second phase, and the first phase was supposed to come to the council for approval. And
Never did.
It was just approved administratively, which is not permitted. So
That's the big picture. That's what I'm saying. It was approved prior
That's
to
the big picture.
behind the scene.
Behind the scene, right. It never came to the elected body, and it was approved without authorization of the elected body.
Lehard Dane. That's what I was asking.
What year was it?
2010.
Okay, thank you. Any final questions from the public? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, tab 19.
Yes, moving on to tab 19. Tab 19 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of Susan and William Perkins for a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately 14,204 square foot parcel from heavy commercial use to industrial use located at 138 Northwest 9th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Move it.
Move it. Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff report.
We recommend approval of this. This is the third part of the issue with the recycling center that we've gone over a couple times. This is simply to make sure that the land use and the zoning are compatible. And so again, we recommend approval.
Thank you, sir. Questions from council? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilman Shelley?
No.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Tab 20.
Tab 20 is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City of Homestead Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article 3, Boards, Committees, Commissions, Division 5, Mayor's Youth Council, amending the qualification and terms of office for members of the Mayor's Youth Council, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. This is second and final reading.
Move it. Thank you. Second. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Staff?
Mayor, Council, to amend City's Code, Chapter 2, Administrative Article 3, Division 5, Section 2-141 and 2-142 as follows. Amend the term of office from 1 year to 2 years. Amend appointments and reappointments to be made in September of each year to include, quote, and/or as vacancies arise. Amend the creation, composition, and qualifications of members from grades 9 through 12 to grades 8 through 12, and amend membership to provide for a broader representation by modifying the existing code provision to include both private and charter schools, in addition to Miami-Dade County public schools located within city limits.
Okay, council, questions? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll open the public hearing then. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Madam Clerk. Card number 582, tab 21.
This is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by amending Chapter 30 Zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 10, B1A, Professional Business Restricted District, Section 30-241, Uses Permitted, and further amending Article 4, Supplemental District Regulations, Division 8, Special Exceptions, Section 30-531, established to provide that daycare shall be permitted as special exception use within the B1A Professional Business Restricted District, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. This is first reading.
Move it. Second.
Move it.
All right. Second. Staff?
Staff recommends approval of this ordinance amending the professional business restricted zoning district list of permitted uses to authorize the daycares by special exception. This is the third part in the series of the issues that the city's cleaning up on the Leisure Dan issue, necessitated by the rezoning and the fact that the land use and the zoning don't match. When we change the zoning, we need to make sure that the actual daycare is permitted in the zone. And so the way we've done this is to insert the daycare as a special exception in the zone. From a planning perspective, it's fine. I don't see an issue. We don't see an issue with having daycares as a special exception in this district, nor do we see an issue with the location of that. So just administrative issue.
Questions from council?
Just a quick comment, if I could.
Sure.
I just want to thank staff for their work in bringing things that were done maybe not properly back in the day, getting them out here and cleaning them up, and making sure that their department is running as it should be and doing things above board. So thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Please, Mr. Shelley.
Just a clarification question, and that is that the daycares within B1A will be by the special exception, meaning that they actually have to come and ask. It's not as a matter of right. So if for some reason it doesn't fit the particular area that is asked based on the criteria and the special exception, it gives us the ability to deny that, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any final questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Yes, please, come forward. Name, address, phone number.
Really?
No, phone number.
Okay.
Name, address.
Tim Williams, Williams Agricultural Enterprises. I'm just have a question because I've served on the board of Lake Hardin for a long time.
Sure.
Does this change all daycares in every category to be special exceptions only, or are they still allowed somewhere in the code other than the B1A?
They're allowed elsewhere in the code, but we're inserting it into the B1A as a special exception.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Any further questions from the public? I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Councilman Maldonado.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes.
Councilman Shelley.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, card number 584, tab 22.
Finally, James lets me do something here. Ordinance to the City of Homestead, Florida, creating Section 22.5310 excess benefit arrangement in the city code to establish an excess benefit arrangement in accordance with Section 415M of the Internal Revenue Code, providing for implementation, inclusion of the code, and severability and effective date.
Motion.
Move it.
Thank you, second.
Second.
Staff?
Mr. Mayor, this is an ordinance that's been, that is required by our pension board attorney in order to implement the settlement that we entered into with Mr. Shahada. There's no cost to the city, and it's a formality to set this up so that he can get paid the money that we settled with him.
Okay. Any questions from council? Hearing no questions, I'll open the public hearing. Any questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Burgess.
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick.
Yes.
Councilman Shelley.
Yes.
Councilman Williams.
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado.
Yes.
Mayor Bateman.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Card number 576, tab 23.
And back to you, James.
Resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, making certain findings, designated approximately 5.8 acres of land located at 1499 North Homestead Boulevard, as further identified by map in the attached Exhibit A as a brownfield area pursuant to Section 376.80 Florida statutes for the purpose of environmental remediation, rehabilitation, and economic development, providing for transmittal to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and providing for an effective date.
Move it.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Staff report.
Yes, sir. We recommend the mayor and council approve the resolution requesting the brownfield designation. Walmart's requesting the brownfield area designation of their property, formerly the Blake Chevrolet dealership. The request is pursuant to Chapter 376.82B of the Florida statutes and will enable the applicant to take advantage of federal and state economic redevelopment incentives. These benefits will include grants and tax incentives that allow environmental cleanup costs to be deducted. Upon the approval of the request, Walmart proposes to redevelop the site following the site plan was approved by council on February 22nd, 2012. The statutory process associated with the brownfield area designation requires that the applicant demonstrate compliance with 5 statutory criteria showing that the property meets the definition of a brownfield area as defined within the statutes. 2 public hearings are required to be held by the City Council for final approval. They've met those criteria, and this is the second public hearing.
Okay, questions from council? One question. Is this contiguous with our brownfield along US 1 there, Publix? I mean, does it go that far up, or is this going to be an isolated area? Obviously it is.
I believe it's isolated.
It's just a 5-point.
It's isolated area.
Yes, it's just the property where the Chevrolet dealership is.
Mayor, if I could, I did ask that at our special call meeting, and I was told that it just did this 5.6 acres or whatever.
Who knows that? Maybe the CRA director, but I know it goes up US 1 to about 12th Street. Do we know? Do we know if it's contiguous with our brownfield area now that goes up US 1? We don't know.
This is actually across the street from there, so I don't think it's anywhere near the brownfields that you're talking about.
Yeah, that stops at 11th Street right now.
11th Street, but it's on the other side. This is
the old
strictly for Blake,
Chevrolet.
used to be Chevrolet, and they used to do, I guess, work on vehicles there.
Any final questions? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay. Tab 24, card number 589, is resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, recommending Walmart stores East LP to be approved as an eligible business to receive a brownfield redevelopment bonus refund pursuant to Section 288-107 Florida statutes, electing the local financial support exemption option pursuant to Section 288.106(2K Florida statutes, providing for transmittal to the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and providing an effective date.
Move it.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Staff report?
Yes, sir. We recommend approval of this resolution. The state legislature has created a brownfield redevelopment bonus refund program pursuant to state statutes as an incentive program to encourage and recognize development and job creation within designated brownfield areas. Walmart, as we mentioned before, intends to build a new neighborhood market with drive-through pharmacy located on the brownfield area. Florida statutes says that the city council must provide a resolution recommending that Walmart is eligible for economic incentives pursuant to statute in order for Walmart to be eligible to receive such incentives. Additionally, the proposed resolution establishes that the city council elects the local financial support exemption under the bonus refund program pursuant to Florida statutes.
Thank you. Questions from council? Mr. Manager, or maybe is this a delay in the building of Walmart, or is this going to go contiguous with the whole process of the drawings and processing?
They need to mitigate the site first before they can build. So they have to get this out of the way before they go on. But that's I don't know how long it's going to take them to actually mitigate the site.
There's not a day go by that somebody doesn't ask me when's the Walmart standalone grocery store coming.
Yeah, they have to do it, and I guess they were hoping they could defray some of those costs. So if anything, you're helping them expedite their project because they have cost concerns.
Sure. Okay. Any final questions from council? I'll open the public hearing. Questions from the public? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Final questions from council. Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Fairclough McCormick?
Yes.
Councilman Shelley?
Yes.
Councilman Williams?
Yes.
Councilman Maldonado?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Burgess?
Yes.
Mayor Bateman?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Okay, business from the city manager.
I forwarded to you all the latest reports on City Hall. I know at the last meeting you had asked for a special meeting on that. We're still gathering some facts, and hopefully we'll be ready for you within a week. But the second round of tests came back with similar results as the first round of tests. So it really is not a function of if, but when in terms of mitigation, and so we're trying to get the most intelligent information we can on what's the most effective way to deal with this problem. And when we have a better answer for you, hopefully next week, including some options for you to consider, including staying here versus some sort of an interim solution. And so we'll have some cost estimates. We did, at your request, cost out some trailer options. We've been looking at some swing space operation options, and the missing piece that we don't have is the timeline for mitigation and whether there'd be any need to vacate the building or not, and that's something we don't know yet.
That's the first question I would have. Did anyone, the company that you've hired to do it, have they indicated that needs to be done? Is there an emergency? And
well, I think that was the question we asked about 5 or 6 different ways of our consultants, and then I was also on the phone today with the EPA radon hotline people who are contracted out. The United States Environmental Protection Agency has a hotline, and they contract with the Kansas State University to answer these types of questions. So I spent a great deal of time with them on the phone today asking the very same questions you do about how imminent is the danger.
Because radon's everywhere.
Right. The problem that they have is that there's two controlling factors. It's the intensity, and it's also the duration. So they know several things. They know, number one, is that radon causes lung cancer. There's no doubt about that. In fact, radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. And then what happens is, okay, so how long do you have to be exposed to radon before it causes lung cancer? And how high do the numbers have to be in order to cause the lung cancer? And that's the problem with them even answering the question, is it safe to be in the building? And so United States EPA has their own benchmark of 4 requires action. The state of Florida has a little bit more of a swing. And so, but the question that we asked of both the consultant and the Kansas State University people was, is it safe to be in the building? And what they're saying is they can't tell us it's safe or it's unsafe. What they can tell you is the more exposure you have to it, the greater your risk is enhanced. So does that mean evacuate the building? Nobody's told me evacuate the building. Nobody's told me it's unsafe to be in the building. What they have told me is the longer you're in the building and the higher your numbers, the more risk there is to be in the building. So that's the fundamental problem here with giving you a very concrete recommendation. If this were the engineers came in and said that the structural beams were damaged and the building is unsafe, we'd be able to say definitively evacuate the building. But we don't have that. And so the problem is, at this point, I think the best thing we can do for you is to give you your array of options. I have met with all the employees in the City Hall so that they have all the information as we have it, so as to not create a panic, and also for people to feel that we are very concerned about the situation. We know that radon can be mitigated, so it's not a function of that. The likelihood is, and this is the interesting part, is that in speaking to the Kansas State University people, the mitigation question is even variable, because on the one hand, if it's as simple as the gas permeates from the ground and it sneaks into the building,
ventilation.
How do you deal with it beyond ventilation? The second issue is, well, in some cases in Florida particularly they found, but luckily for us they found this mostly in post-Hurricane Andrew structures, that in some cases the radon is coming from the building materials that were actually within the structure.
I'm glad Fred's going home. Fred built this building.
So what we won't know right now, what we don't know right now is the radon coming from the ground? And if so, what's the best approach to doing that and mitigating that? Is it from the building materials? We don't know. And the other more complicated piece is, in order for us to mitigate the radon, we're told that we first need to deal with the basement issue with the mold and all the objects that are downstairs, because they need a clear basement in order to mitigate the radon. So the environmental firm that we hired, by next week sometime, they'll have an action plan, a recommended action plan to mitigate the basement on mold and how to basically clean it up sufficiently for then the second phase of this, which is the radon mitigation. And then the next piece, once we compile that information for you, is then to kind of do the cost comparison and the practicality comparison of what makes more sense for you. And part of that's also going to be decided by your short and long-term goals for this building. And so we'd like to have all that information for you so that you can look at the whole thing in its entirety and then hopefully make some short-term and long-term decisions. I can't tell you whether it's going to cost you $1 or a zillion to fix the radon problem.
We don't have that.
But I can hopefully get us more narrow than that by next week, and that's the goal. We don't want us, both the consultants and the Kansas State University people told us this is not something that you want to sit on too long, and so we're going to try to get this thing expedited as best as possible.
And what levels are we at? Because I didn't attend the
Basically, the way they measure radon is in a measurement called picocuries, which is the way they measure how much radiation is in the air caused by radon. And basically the way it works is if you went outside, the average reading of picocuries would be 0.4 picocuries per liter. In the average structure, and you made a good point to say radon is everywhere, the average structure is somewhere around 1.3 to 1.4 picocuries per liter. The EPA, the United States EPA, says that somewhere between 2 to 4 picocuries, you really should start thinking about remediation. But at 4, they term it the recommended action level, which basically says if you're 4 or more, you really should do several things. The first one is, if you're above 4, you should retest, just to confirm your original results. If you're double the 4, you should test immediately. So because some of our readings came out in excess of 8, so the highest we received was 8.8, 8.9. That triggered the immediate testing response, which is what we did, and that's why there were so many units. Now, what I submitted to you by email this afternoon is you'll see the list of every room in this building, who's assigned to the room, and what their reading is. You'll be happy to know, Mayor, yours was about 6 something.
I heard. The highest.
Some fared better than others, and unfortunately, your office was, I think, around a 6. And so we take it very seriously, but we also don't want to create a panic.
Yeah.
So we're trying to be, the best way to avoid panic is for everybody to have the same information at the same time, to not sugarcoat anything, but not to overblow it either, give them the facts. And so far, I think the staff has been very responsible and understanding, but we definitely need to do something.
Stay out of it. Okay. All righty. Any questions from council? Okay. All right. City Attorney, your turn. Mr. Shelley.
Thank you, Mayor. Just 2 quick things. One, we had the Centennial events on Friday and Saturday. I just wanted to publicly thank the Centennial Committee for their hard work and their effort, as well as city staff. I think they both went very well, and so I did want to publicly thank them. And then my second thing was, being that we have our first possible tropical system out there for the year that may have an effect on us here in Homestead or South Florida, where do the public need to turn as far? I know that the National Hurricane Center is the authority, but from a local perspective, how would the local public get access of how it's going to affect them, what the city of Homestead is doing? Can you somebody give an update as far as what they need to do?
Once as far as governmental operations, right now, the way the storm is tracking, it hasn't triggered anything more than beyond what our standard procedure is recommending to top off vehicles so that people have enough fuel. Once we reach a certain, and we track the storm regularly, at some point, if this thing becomes a likely event, then that triggers our emergency response, emergency operations center. At that point, we'll start posting notices, we'll start keeping you all updated, and certainly the public will have plenty of options in terms of contact points. We will be making the website and other postings available so that the public knows what's happening. Hopefully it doesn't go that way, and it's still far enough away that it could do a lot of different things. But we're as ready as we can be, although, storms, depending on the gravity of the situation, there's only so much you can be prepared for.
Thank you. And then the other thing, follow-up too, is I know that in prior years sometimes we've had a hurricane preparedness, workshop, not official with the council here, but just in general at City Hall, for the public to come in and learn about what they need to be prepared for hurricanes and kind of give them an outline of what to expect, where to look for information. I know we haven't done that this year, but I think it was good the prior years to do that as a public service, and so I'd like to maybe look into doing that again, either for the remainder of this year and then for years going forward.
Sure.
Thank you.
Councilman Williams.
No business.
Thanks. Councilman Maldonado.
Just a comment. I'd like to comment that I'm glad to see there's some bus stops coverings over our buses. I know, Julio, we've been talking about this since we've come on board. One of my things was driving throughout the city and seeing these poor, not poor, but unfortunate families or whatever, however you want to term it, but felt bad. My heart went out to them knowing that they were under that sun, so I was glad to see that there were some families huddled under that, so thank you for your effort.
They're still not finished. They're going to have benches and lighting for nighttime, so they're still working on them. The county's still working on them. But you're going to get 40 shelters in the city.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Fairclough-McCormick.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to plug the Mayor's Youth Council. The applications are out. They're hot off the press. I have been receiving an excessive amount of emails from students and parents throughout this community that are interested in the Mayor's Youth Council. If you are interested, the application is on the website. Please be sure to complete it and return those applications to City Hall or to myself. Scan them and send them to pfaircloth@cityofhomestead.com. I am excited about the Mayor's Youth Council, and we're going to take this to the next level.
Ditto, I'm excited.
In addition to that, our Children's Day event as a part of our centennial celebration is scheduled for Saturday, September 22nd. We have a host of activities planned for our school-age children. Flyers will be sent to schools, local PTSAs, as well as prominently displayed on our website. I encourage all of you to come out, bring your children, bring your grandchildren, or if you're a kid at heart, come on out on September 22nd and have some fun with us. We are also looking for sponsors to help defray the cost of some of the events that we're having on Children's Day. So if you are a nonprofit organization or business and you're interested in partnering with us on this event, I'd greatly appreciate your support. So email me for a sponsorship package. And finally, there has been an increase in excessive amounts of break-ins in the Oasis community. I found myself walking outside and realizing that my husband and I was a victim of a burglary, and several of the residents in the Oasis community have been contacting me. Yes, we have burglaries in Oasis.
In Oasis?
Yes, in Oasis, in our gated communities. It's real. So as a result of that, I have been seeing a lot of police officers canvassing the area, and I thank you, Chief Rowe, for that. I don't know if you got a hint that we were being impacted over there, but if you can continue to ensure that we have an increased police presence, I would greatly appreciate it, and so would my constituents. That's all I have.
Thank you. Yes, thank you so much. Mr.
Yes,
Williams.
yes, I did have a couple of things I need to talk about. First of all, the 4th Street, for lack of a better word, reconstruction, or how far are we along on that? Maybe it's this question, because I know on the sign it says be done by, or start October 1st, or, so I'm getting a lot of questions on that.
Yes, Councilman, the bid for that job is going to be advertised on Friday, this Friday. It's going to take, I think, 31 to 32 days for the bids to come back at the end of September, and we're going to bring it to you for award of the bid, and then we're looking for the job to start in October.
Start in October?
Yes, sir.
And how far are we completed with the Blakely Park?
That should be completed in the 2nd week of October as well. We're actually getting some of the equipment delivered tomorrow.
Okay, all right, thank you. This next issue is with the street lighting on 4th Street, and I met with some residents last night at FICA Williams, residents from Turner Circle, and the chief was there and his staff with code compliance. But one of the issues that they brought up was the street lighting in that area, and so this question is for the utilities director. Would you be able to, through the city manager, be able to look into that, to look at the street lighting, to make sure that it's a well-lit area, because we experience a lot of nuisance and undisturbed disturbance in that area, and that was one of the major concerns that they talked about. So would you be able to look into that?
Yes, we can have a photometric study done and see if the lighting meets the specifications that we require.
Okay.
And if not, then we'll make some adjustments to the lighting.
Okay, yeah, because I know it's very dark in that area and at night, so we can look at that. That'll be great for those residents over there. The next, I want to thank the Southwest Advisory Committee for a great job that they did with the Night Out, National Night Out. with the backpack giveaways, and so they are to be commended along with Mrs. Robin for SOS with Regency with a fantastic job that she did coordinating that with the Southwest Advisory Board, and thank the mayor and also Councilwoman McCormick for coming out and participating with that. It meant a lot to the residents over there in that area. Thank you so very much, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to echo the sentiments of Councilman Shelley. I attended both events this weekend as we kicked off our centennial, and it was both events were well attended. I've never seen so many people downtown on a Saturday night. The food trucks were great. The entertainment was great. The whole event was great. So thank you to them for all their hard work and putting out a gold star as we start this centennial kickoff. I guess my next question would be to Development Services. We've been inundated here in the city with these pickup boxes for clothes and shoes, and they seem to be popping up on every corner or in every possible place that they can. I know that we've had some discussions about that, and also I've received several complaints. Not that there's a Goodwill trailer in Homestead, but the placement of it at the Oasis Shopping Center. People feel that it can be placed in a much more strategic place. And I just wondering what we need to do, and I know James had written some language in the past, and what we need to do to protect ourselves from being inundated with these boxes all over the place, as they become, in my eyes, an eyesore.
Right now, we don't have any legislation regarding those boxes, so I think that we can come back to you with recommendation for a legislation that we can put in the code. When somebody places a trailer, that's almost something that we can control with site plan approval. So we may be able to ask them come in and
I'm all in favor of Goodwill. I just believe there's a better, more strategic position for the neighborhood and for the aesthetics out there than where it's been placed.
If it's the will of the council, we can put some language together and bring it back to you for your review.
Well, I would like to have, if it's the will of the council, I'd like to have it for both things, for the Goodwill trailer, who I am in favor of, but also for those little boxes that are about 6 by 6 that are showing up on every corner of every parking lot. We don't have any language for them, and I'd like to see if we can get the consensus here tonight to get them reined in and get them under control.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor? Yes, sir. Mr. Shell. Can I make a comment on that as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree. I echo Councilman Burgess's direction. And the other thing, too, the other concern to me on that issue is not only the eyesore of the ones that are in existence, but the fact that some of the ones that are being placed aren't necessarily for a not-for-profit organization. They're actually profit-based. No one knows any different. And so people think that they're giving to a good cause, and in fact, they're actually going to profit organizations that are profiting. So I think that it's a double-fold. One is the eyesore and where they're placed, and two, making sure that we can regulate somehow who was actually placing those boxes and that they are for not-for-profit organizations that are doing good for the community.
Thank you.
Mr. Maldonado.
Just as you guys start hashing that out, because I thought about that, and I know it's, our communities, we have a lot of clothes, we like to give it away, and it's obviously very convenient. So whether it's a better location or if they're going to have it on their premises, maybe to have it kind of covered, bushes in the corner in the back of the building.
Right,
just give it some thought, other than because it is convenient. I've used them and
I thought on, that they've got a wide truck lane on the other side, on the far east side. Perhaps they could move it to the back corner. People will still see it. People are just upset with it sitting out front, and that's like a billboard and just a truck trailer sitting there.
Work on some structure.
But, and also I'd like to make sure that we do cover those 6 by 6 boxes that, like Mr. Shelley said, I believe are put out by a for-profit organization, so.
Okay, so we're going to deal with some language for the 6 by 6 boxes, the placement of trailers, and the profit per stop.
And I would ask that we include Goodwill, reach out to them to make sure that, we're not here to run them out of town or to offend them in any way. We want to work with them, and we just want to make sure that, if whatever language we come to is easily agreeable to them, or won't hinder their efforts that they make to help people.
We'll reach out to them to make sure that they're included in the
Thank you.
crafting. You're welcome.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Yeah, and maybe a number of in a certain area that are permissible. Because what I'm seeing is 4 and 5 in one area.
Mhm.
You know, a popular area, you'll drive through a Oasis, and you'll see 4 of them, you know, on 4 different corners. And we break the city up in 4 different areas or 6 different areas instead of 4 in one area.
And I just have one more comment. I want to say to our Public Works Department, who oversaw the project out there on East Mallory, you guys amazed me for that road to open up and be ready to go for school on Monday. I was simply amazed at how quick that got done out there, and the concerns that I have been explained to me, that there is a top coat that will be put on there so that if people think the road is not complete or whatever, there's still a final coat to go on at an extended time. And there is a phase 2 that'll be coming along to make a median and the other 2 lanes with sidewalks and all. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. A couple items, just a quick update on the bowling alley. Can we get just something?
There are time lapses in September, and I'm told they're going to come to us in time to meet that deadline.
Okay, thank you. There's an open availability of seat on the Historical Preservation Board, so I just want to make that announcement to the public. The Historic Preservation Board, there is a vacancy on there. The signs that we have are entrance signs. Beautiful. Nice job. Well needed, well deserved. Also, Walmart has invited us, obviously it's a short notice, I'm sorry, but I'm going to announce it to not only to the employees but to the public. They're having Honor a Hero Day tomorrow. It's Sun Life Stadium. They're having a career day tomorrow, and it'll be a hiring opportunity for veterans and family members. That's at Sun Life Stadium. And that's all I have. Thank you very much. And,
Mayor, if I,
sure.
before we adjourn, just to comment on Vice Mayor Burgess when he mentioned that there are an excessive amount of those boxes in our community, and it appears as if there's a proliferation of them in the Oasis community. Yes, we are charitable. However, it's a bit much within our community. And also to comment on the monument signs. They are great. They're beautiful. Yeah. I love when you enter the community and it says the City of Homestead welcomes you. But when you're leaving the city, it also says, it's still there, I saw it today, it says the City of Homestead welcomes you, but they're leaving. So we may want to kind of look at that.
We're actually addressing that, and we're going to change out the ones that say that.
Good point. Just one quick question.
Sure.
Just to go one more step on those boxes, can we possibly get code to look at them and make sure they're not on right-of-ways or spots that they're not? And if they are, go ahead and let's remove them. Can we pass that along to code to check, see if they're on right-of-ways, and let's start and show these people that, you know, we're not going to tolerate it. Thank you.
Yeah, right. It's a couple of them in a very tight area. Going into McDonald's, there's one right on the corner. You know, you got to turn very tight to get around it. Yeah, they're everywhere. So I agree. Anything further?
Motion.
Okay, motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.